back to Clair de Lune from scratch. Okay, let's quickly review what we've covered in our previous lesson. We looked at these two measures, and then we looked at this challenging measure over here where your left hand moves down and jumps up very quickly between those two chords over here. And then the right hand, of course, is repositioning itself to play these three notes, but also holding the bottom two notes while playing the top note by itself. Okay, so we had a couple of kind of finger and hand challenges. A little bit of practice, though. If you break it apart, you're going to see it's not so bad. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and work directly on the next measure over here. Just going to go ahead and take a look at this measure. All right? Because once you hold that, nothing else is really... Well, actually, let's do the same thing. I think it's still helpful to kind of quickly see where you're coming from so you can see how we're moving forward. So let's go ahead, snip those two measures, and that'll help us move forward. Let me just do that one more time if you don't mind, sorry. That way I want to just catch that little F clef on the bottom. Okay, another name for the F clef, of course, is the bass clef, excuse me. All right, so that was what we worked on previously. Let's just have a new piece of digital paper here, make it clear for us to work. Okay, let me play this measure first, okay, so we can see where we're coming from. Left hand, you're starting with a G flat, D flat, and quickly moving up. Remember, this is an octave, so you can practice finding that. One way to practice is just to do this first with the right hand. And as you get better, add that note. And if you get even better than that, all of those things go together. Remember, all those tied notes mean we only play the chord here all together. And then the right hand continues on with those little notes on top. Okay? Good. So, from here, okay, let's go on. If you remember, this is a G flat. That's going to help us kind of gauge where the next note on the bottom is going to be over here. Notice that's on the line over here, right? Now the very next note down here, then it's going to be G flat, F. Remember, there are two safe notes. I keep drawing these just as reminders, because most of the other notes, as we saw in the very beginning, are going to be covered or have that global rule that they have to turn automatically into flats or move a little bit to the left, okay? Here, F is one of those safe notes, so we have no flat to worry about there, okay? So we see that this is moved down to F on the bottom there. From here, it's going to move down to there at the bottom. Now, notice the top note over here is on this middle line. There are 5 lines in a staff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the middle line here, that's a D flat. That's the same note. So you had this previously, D flat and G flat. And then the next measure is going to start with just a little bit of difference. So you move your pinky down here. You can use the same 2 fingers. But notice that this is the same on top. Okay, so that's a nice thing to see right there. Okay, so you finish this. Okay, notice that this is coming down to here. Okay, also notice again, thanks to so many of these lines that we see connecting similar notes, this is also tied, so you don't have to play this over here. So we just have to worry about the next portion over here. So let's take a little bit at a time. Let's go ahead and look at the right hand first. We've finished this. Okay, now, because of what's happening over here, a whole new hand position is going to be required. And let me just tell you right off the bat that the width of these notes here to here, here to here, again with some practice, because I've been doing this for a long time, I can see, my eyes are telling me, oh, we're looking at octaves over here. If you recall from our last lesson, we saw that from here to here is an octave. An octave is a really quick way to see notes that are the same on the next position up. So, and they're basically 8 letter notes apart. D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C, D flat. 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 letter names apart. Okay? So that's an octave there. My eyes tell me that we have a whole bunch of octaves over here in the right hand too. Okay? So, just to save us a little bit of time, I'm going to go ahead and eyeball those octaves. We know that we finished off an E flat over here. Okay, since that's an E flat, I can see moving down, this is a D flat, okay, E flat, D flat, okay, going back to E flat over here, okay, now let's go here from E flat, let's find the next note, E flat, next note over here, F, G, G flat, of course I'm summarizing, and then we go to this first ledger line to help carry us above the lines that are written, and that's going to be an A flat over here. Okay, D flat, E flat, A flat, okay, go to the space down here. That brings us down to F again, one of our safe notes, so there's no flat over there. So let me just show you what this looks like in the right hand just as octaves, okay? So what we're going to see is D flat, D flat, E flat, E flat. Do you see the same? So this is the first black key here for the D flat. Same thing in this lower level over here. A flat, and that's one way you can practice that. Okay, just practice this. Okay, and don't worry about the middle notes yet. Okay, in fact, if you want to do this just to put this together preliminarily, you can do the left hand here, these two together, and then. Okay, so this is a little more involved, so let's go ahead and stop here. Just practice that much for now. Okay, practice keeping your hand in this shape. Don't tighten up too much. Stay relaxed. Okay, and if you want to make it easy for your hand to find its positions, kind of like forming a cookie cutter, use the same fingers and just jump them around. It's just like moving a kind of a bread mold or a cookie cutter mold so that you can find this distance relatively easy. See how I'm doing that? Okay, I'm just keeping my hand the same shape and just keeping relaxed. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. We'll just work on this measure and put the rest of it in our next lesson.